A judge has confirmed that Prince did not have a will and that his assets will be divided among his 6 siblings. His estate includes about $27 million worth of property, but recent reports suggest that Prince had some financial struggles prior to his death. A bank will now oversee the estate and split the money between Prince's sister and 5 other half-siblings. A hearing on the estate is scheduled for next week, and Prince might be the perfect example of why you should make sure you protect your legacy and your assets, given the fact that you never know when your time will come. Joining us to talk about the lessons learned from this, financial advisor Laurie Itkin. Laurie, good to see you.
Good to see you too, Andrew.
All right, do a lot of people fall into this category? Obviously, most of us don't have the money that Prince may have had, but certainly we do have our own assets.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Somebody with the kind of wealth that Prince had, that he didn't have a will or an estate plan, it's really a tragedy, because instead of this money that could have gone to charitable causes, the federal government and the state of Minnesota are going to get a lot of that estate in terms of estate taxes. And I was surprised to learn that there was a survey done that looked at people with between $1 million and $5 million in assets, and a third of them have never talked to a financial expert about end-of-life wishes and estate planning. And it's a huge problem, because if you don't have an estate plan, the state that you live in is going to decide who you leave your money to, how much they get, and when they get it.
How do they figure that out? How do they make that decision, especially here in California, if you know?
Every state law is different. For instance, you mentioned that Prince has 1 full sibling and many half siblings. In some states, they treat a half sibling as half a full sibling, where the half sibling would be entitled to get half of what a full sibling, but I believe under Minnesota law, all the half siblings will be treated on par with a full sibling. And this gets really complicated, especially in California. We're such a large state. We have so many blended families. I mean, so many of our friends, or ourselves, we have step parents, we have half siblings. And it can get very complicated. If you don't decide who you want to get your money, it's going to be decided by the state.
This is a tough conversation for probably anybody to have, but in the case where you might have aging parents who don't have a will, or maybe haven't updated their will in like 40 years, like somebody's parents.
Yeah.
Mine. I had a conversation with them recently. How do you have this conversation to kind of talk about, making sure that their wishes are granted?
I'm glad you had the conversation. You have to have the conversation, especially if there are multiple marriages in the family, because this is the way you've got to point it out to somebody, to your parent. Let's say, do you want does your parent want to leave all his or her money to the new spouse, which could end up meaning that the children of the previous marriage may not get any money unless you designate what you want to have happen. So the other way to get at it is that when people are dead, clearly they can't spend their own money, and they may be trite and just say, oh, I don't care, I'll be dead. But they are creating a huge hassle. If there are no will and estate plan, then it has to go through probate. It can be very costly in terms of legal fees. It can take a lot of time to get the money delivered. It's really a selfish thing, because you're creating more work, more pain, more hassle for your loved ones.
Lastly, I want to ask you, first of all, what are your options? Maybe a will versus a trust. What's the difference there? And also, maybe some of the holdback is, how much time does it take to do this? How much does it cost? What can you tell us about that?
Well, here's one simple tip, because of course it'll cost money if you hire an estate attorney. However, a little thing you can do that's very easy is, when you have a 401k at work, maybe a 403b, or you have an IRA, just as my clients come to me to manage their IRAs, you should fill out a beneficiary form, and all it really takes is the name and the social security numbers of the people that you want to get this money when you die. If you have 3 kids, you can say each get 33 1/3%. You can name anyone you want, and when people are rushed, they're trying to open up this stuff and they don't have the social security number of their sibling or their child, I say, well, get it. Don't do it later, because it may be too late. Look, Prince was 57 and he never got around to it.
Right. That's a good reminder. This is a time to at least be reminded in a circumstance like this that we all need to make sure we get it done for our family's sake. Laurie, thanks for your insight. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good conversation, you guys. Thanks.